Politicians are incredibly nervous about it because what they hear you saying is, I'm going to stop caring about inflation.
Did you know that inflation is silently killing the UK economy? Let's find out how. In the UK, inflation has spread like a wildfire, scorching everything and everyone in its path. It all began with the Ukraine war, which sent prices into a crazy spiral across markets. Millions of people are now at the mercy of the steep price hikes. Yet again, experts have thrown up red flags, waving the final warning flag, stating that a recession, the worst one yet, is looming over the horizon. You think that was bad? Well, it just got a little worse. Statistically, headline inflation has been relentless, standing firm at a staggering 8.7%. While core inflation has hit a 31-year high of 7.1%. The cost of general everyday goods and services, the things that make our lives comfortable, have soared to a daunting 7.4%. This hits your wallet hard, especially when you want to enjoy a meal at a restaurant or book that flight for a well-deserved vacation.
The good news, unemployment falling still, down to 3.9% now. That means if you are feeling sort of cash constrained, the chances are that you're in work.
But here's the kicker. This inflation beast is hitting the UK harder than its counterparts like Germany, France, and the US. There's no improvement in sight since April, making it feel like an unending uphill battle. It's a terrible storm, and we're right in the middle of it. But why is this happening? And what exactly can we do to ease the pain? Well, it's as a result of several factors. The energy prices have surged thanks to the Ukraine war, and that's like throwing fuel onto an already raging fire. These increased energy costs have a domino effect, raising prices for everything else, from manufacturing to transportation. And who pays the price? You, the average consumer. To combat this fiery situation, the UK is considering raising interest rates even higher. Seems unreasonable, doesn't it? This move, though intended to tame inflation, could potentially shove Britain into the pit of a deep recession. It's like walking a tightrope, and a slight misstep could have grave consequences.
What I really learned is how to build a campaign to achieve change. Because as an MP, you've only got a very small staff, but you have the opportunity to influence.
Experts are whispering the dreaded word, stagflation. This is an economic nightmare where high inflation meets stagnant economic growth. It's a toxic mix, and if not handled cautiously, it could cripple the very fabric of the nation's economy. The Bank of England, often seen as the custodian of economic stability, is facing criticism yet again. It's a tough spot to be in, with the nation's financial health on the line. The pressure is on, and the stakes have never been higher. Here's what the experts think. First up, let's talk about Giles Wilkes, a former economic advisor to Theresa May, and now a partner at Consultants Flint Global. Like John Major, the chancellor battling double-digit inflation in the 1980s and who is also renowned for saying, if it's not hurting, it's not working, Wilkes acknowledges the pain of the ongoing inflation. He highlights that the UK has been sluggish in raising interest rates, and this lethargy is a big reason why domestic inflation has gone beyond acceptable levels. Wilkes emphasizes that tighter policies are necessary to rein in this runaway inflation, and the Bank of England has been way too slow in 2021. To make matters worse, their forecasts have been way off the mark. Now, let's shift our focus to Kitty Ussher, chief economist at the Institute of Directors and a former Labor Treasury Minister. Ussher, too, is waving the red flag. She sees a storm brewing on the economic horizon. Rising inflation, like a tidal wave, is threatening to wash away stability. She cautions that the current path could lead to the worst recession the UK has ever seen. The impact on the mortgage market could be catastrophic. These seasoned experts are ringing alarm bells for a reason. Inflation, like a relentless beast, is tearing through the economy, and here's the kicker. The UK is bearing the brunt harder than its European and American counterparts. April brought no respite, and the struggle continues. So, what exactly is the takeaway from this, and how can you benefit from it? The UK is standing on a precipice. The Bank of England, under scrutiny for its tardiness, needs to act swiftly and decisively. A misstep could plunge the nation into a stagflation nightmare, where high inflation and stagnant growth collide. The stakes are sky high and the clock is ticking. I know what's on your mind. Does Brexit contribute to the ongoing inflation? All right, let's get to the facts about Brexit and this inflation buzz. Giles Wilkes is clear on this. Brexit isn't the boogeyman here. The bulk of this inflation party is fueled by other factors. I've stated these factors earlier, and I'll state them again. More spending power and rising energy prices. Brexit isn't entirely blameless, though. It's like a side character in this drama. The differences between other countries and Britain in the post-Brexit era has got its own roles, but it's more like a cameo. Let's be real. The real biggie here is the pandemic. The economy took a hit, down by 3 or 4%, and that's a punch to the gut. Wilkes is dropping truth bombs here. Inflation means higher prices and less stuff in the market. It's simple math. And guess what? This isn't a one-time event. This inflation train is chugging along, and it's likely to stick around, with prices up and output down.
Well, the business environment has changed totally over the summer. We've gone from a situation where our members, on balance, were much more optimistic about future prospects for the wider UK economy.
So it's the perfect storm. The pandemic, shifting economic tides, and energy prices playing catch-up. Brexit might have thrown in a pebble, but the real boulders here are elsewhere. Putting the blame on Brexit is like trying to blame the weatherman for a rainy day. It's just not the main act. Now, what are the possible ways out of this mess? How to tackle the ongoing inflation? All right, let's cut to the chase. The UK's current economy is like a ship caught in a storm, and the Bank of England needs to steer it out of troubled waters. Here's what needs to be done, according to experts Kitty Usher and Giles Wilkes. First off, let's talk about how we can keep down inflation. The Bank of England needs to do a tap dance on interest rates. Giles Wilkes has a point. They've been slow on the draw. Speed up the process, hit that gas pedal, and raise those interest rates. It's like pulling on the brakes of a speeding train. It's going to be bumpy, but it's necessary to tame this inflation beast. Next up, communication is key. Kitty Usher highlights this. The bank needs to be crystal clear on its actions and strategies. No room for unclear terms. Lay out the roadmap. Let the market and the public know what's coming. Naturally, transparency tends to make things easier for everyone involved. We all know what's coming and how best to prepare for it. Let's not forget about fiscal policy. The government needs to step up to the plate. Smart fiscal decisions can be the way to go in these turbulent times. Strategic investments, targeted spending, and cutting down on wastefulness can inject the right medicine into the falling economy. Inflation isn't the only issue here. We're staring down the barrel of a potential recession. To prevent this, the Bank of England needs to be proactive. Keep a close eye on economic indicators. If things start slipping, it's time for unconventional measures. Quantitative easing, asset purchases, these tools need to be on the table. Let's break it down. What exactly are these two terms? Quantitative easing is the economic equivalent of hitting the gas pedal. It's when your country's central bank, or in this case, the Bank of England, revs up the engine by buying government bonds and other financial assets. Asset purchases, on the other hand, are basically the shopping spree the bank goes on, where they can buy bonds and mortgages from the market. Lastly, it's a team effort. The bank, the government, and even us, the citizens, need to pull in the same direction. Everyone's got a role to play. Tighten our belts a bit, support prudent policies, and let's weather this storm together. Bottom line, swift action, clear communication, smart fiscal moves, and a collaborative spirit. It's a tall order, but if we want to ride this storm out, it's the only way forward. With this eye-opening journey through the stormy sea of the UK's inflation crisis, we can't help but heed the warnings of our economic navigators, Giles Wilkes and Cathy Usher. They've shown us the cautionary flag, signaling that we're in for a rough ride. This crazy inflation we're witnessing isn't merely a result of Brexit, but a complex brew of fuel price hikes and an unexpected surge in spending power. Giles Wilkes has emphasized the urgency of timing and decisive action by the Bank of England. Raising interest rates swiftly is akin to pulling on the brakes of an economic train hurtling towards potential recession. On the other hand, Cathy Usher underscores the significance of clear communication and smart fiscal decisions by the government to steer us out of these perilous waters. The impending storm may darken our economic horizon, but their insights shed light on potential strategies to weather it. It's a call for unity and coordinated efforts, a reminder that collective action is the life buoy in these troubled times. Stay informed, stay proactive, and let's navigate through this turbulent sea together, emerging stronger on the other side. I'll see you in my next video. Cheers!